Well, howdy. Today I want to talk to you about apartment hydroponics. So we're looking at a small space hydroponics do-it-yourself system. And what you're looking at here is a closet. It's 3 by 6. And it has peppers and a tomato plant in here grown hydroponically. Now, some people use an inert medium like Hydroton, which is also called Leca, and some people use even perlite as a grow medium because they're inert. And basically you want an inert media so that the only things that your plants get are the nutrients that you feed them, and so everything stays in balance. If you were to try this with soil, you'd have a lot of problems. But these plants are, if you can see it, they're in cocoa core. And they're in 5-gallon buckets. And cocoa core is an inert media. It doesn't provide any nutrients on its own, so you do have to feed it. So what I have here, let me move this out of the way, is 5-gallon buckets, and the hydroponics is these here. This is a manifold that I made for drip irrigation, and you can get these on Amazon. They cost about 12 bucks a piece, and the tubing is flexible so that you can move it around. And so each one of these plants has a open-ended emitter that drips onto the soil, and it's on a timer, so you control when it gets watered. Now this is hooked up to a reservoir, and this is my reservoir. It's just a 27-gallon tote. I don't know if you can see it in there, but there is a pump, and there's some dirt. It looks dirty because the nutrients built up on it. A piece of tubing, and that goes to the drip manifold. And then what we have is a way for the water to get back in, and there is a drain back there. You can't see it, but it's there. Maybe you can see it in the back. So the nutrients are in the tote, and that's just a 27-gallon tote, and there's a pump in the bottom that feeds this manifold, and the pump is on a $10 timer. So these plants are getting watered for 3 minutes every 3 hours. I have 2 emitters in each pot. I have a lot more tubing because I have used in the past 4 emitters in each pot, but it doesn't seem to be necessary. They're being watered just fine with 2. So to get started, the first thing you're going to need is a tray of some kind to catch the runoff. And this is, can't see it all because the plants are burying it, but it's a 2x4 flood tray. Now bear in mind, when I say 2x4, it's 2x4 on the inside. So you need to allow about 3 inches extra. If you have a closet that's 24 inches, it won't fit. Now you can use a tote as a tray and have it, you know, drip into a reservoir to return your nutrient solution. But basically, you need a tote of some kind to hold your plants in. I have a waffle grid on the bottom here. You can see this black stuff. That's just to raise the plants off the bottom of the tray to help drainage. These 5-gallon buckets have a lot of holes drilled in the bottom. You definitely need drainage. Okay, otherwise you'd be just flooding your containers, and you'd have problems with salt buildup and all that. So, okay, so you've got your tray, and you can use 5-gallon buckets like I am. You can use smaller pots, you know, and if you use a smaller pot than this, you would probably need to irrigate more frequently. So this is going on now for, oh, I don't know, I've been harvesting out of here for a couple of months. I just picked a whole bag full of tomatoes off here, and you can see they're flowering again, and they're climbing up this back piece here, and there's still tomatoes on here. I think you can see them down there. There's a lot of tomatoes still on this plant, and yeah, so this system yields really well. It's really pretty simple, and let's get a look at this branch here. There's plenty of peppers on it, and so yes, these plants are quite productive, and they're still flowering. Tomatoes and peppers are perennial, so if you keep them healthy, you can keep harvesting them. Hydroponics in an apartment is great because, for one thing, you're not hauling a lot of soil. You have less problems with bugs and diseases. It can be really compact, so it's good for small spaces. You don't need a closet. You can use a grow tent, and I do have a 2x4 grow tent that I use. I have lavender plants in it right now, and they're on a what's called a flood and drain system. This is called top feed drip. So what you need to set this up, you need a reservoir, you need a way to get you need a pump in there, and it should be on a timer, and you can either flood your tray and bottom water, or you can do top feed drip, which is what I'm doing in here. And other than that, you do need a source of ventilation. So I do have a fan here that is removing warm, moist air. I have a fan here to move air in the closet itself. It's pointed at the wall. I have a fan over here to move air across this wall, and what that does is it creates a circular airflow, so the plants do get, I think you can see them moving, they do get airflow, which is important, but they don't get all beat up under a fan where they're flopping around, because that would damage them. So you need that. You need to move the air inside your hydroponic closet if you're using a closet. And yeah, there's some more peppers. You need an exhaust fan. You can see that this tube here, this duct is flexing, so you can see it's removing air, warm air from up above. And if you want to grow indoors, the most critical factor, no matter how you grow, is having a good LED grow light. This is an HLG 650R. It's about 3.5 feet, maybe 4 feet above these plants, because it's a very powerful LED. It pulls 600 and something watts at the wall, which means that's what it's actually using. You don't need a light that big. For a 2x4 space, about 200 watts would probably do it. 250 would be better, but 200 would work. And setting it up is really easy. I mean, all you do is you fill the pots with cocoa, you plant. I started these separately. They were transplants. They were tiny when they went in, but they grew like crazy, and the size of these leaves is remarkable. I have never grown peppers in soil and got leaves like that. Plants really like it. They get consistent light, they get consistent water, and they produce much better yields than you would get in just a plain old pot or out in the garden. You know, plus you can control the climate, you control the feed, so basically you can be God over your own little green space, and it works. So to set it up, like I said, you will need a tray of some kind, because we are working with liquid here. It's got to go somewhere. It can't just sit in the tray, so it needs to drain. And the way it works with mine is it drains back into the reservoir and is reused, and it's a pretty efficient system. You do need to change your reservoir out because plants eat at different rates, and so they use nutrients at different rates, and if you don't change your nutrient solution, it will get unbalanced. So with these, in this case, these go through 27-gallon tote in about 5 days, so it's really, every time I fill it, I'm adding fresh nutrient solution. If you're using less, then I recommend changing it every 2 weeks. You know, or when you top it up, if you top it up, once you've added half the amount back to the nutrients, like let's say you have a 10-gallon nutrient solution, once you've added back 5 gallons of water to that, or nutrients to that, you want to replace it. So there is a bit of a learning curve, you know, but you can be really successful with hydroponics in an apartment. It's tailor-made for an apartment, actually, and I recommend that you give it a try. I don't really have any complaints about this system. The lights are on a timer, the watering is on a timer. All I really have to do is make sure that there are nutrients in the reservoir and pick fruit, and that's not a bad problem to have. It's a little bit more expensive to set up than just, you know, a plain garden where you just have pots and you feed them by hand, but it's advantageous, especially if you're busy, because the watering and the lighting is automated. So that's all taken care of. You don't have to worry about forgetting the water. You just have to remember to check the reservoir level, and it's a great way to grow. I am in an apartment, obviously, and I have this closet. I have what I call my kitchen garden, which is just open air and pots. Still use coco coir because it's a great grow media. And then I have a grow tent with flood and drain in it, and it has lavender plants in it. And I have another closet that I'm not using right now that is also a top feed drip and has LED lighting in it. The most important thing is, no matter how you grow, you're going to need to have good lights, because if you're in an apartment, you're not going to get enough light from sun, and even if you did in the summer, you probably won't during the winter when it's cloudy a lot and the days are shorter. So the main thing, definitely you need a light, and you can produce results like this. And so I hope I have some other videos that I'll probably put up where I built a system from scratch, and I'll also put that on this article that this video is going to go on. So you'll want to check that out, and you'll see how I built a system from scratch using totes that I bought instead of a flood tray. And that's really about it. It's not that complicated. It might seem complicated at first, but once you dive into it, you're going to love the results, and you're going to have a successful garden. I didn't talk much about the nutrients, but I should mention that it's probably better to use salts. I use what's called Jack's, and it's a formula called 3-2-1, and it's salts that you dissolve. I mean, because if you try to use organics in here, it will plug up the dripper lines. So this doesn't play well with straight organic. My plants in here are not organic. They're not sprayed with anything, but they are using synthetic nutrients. And if you're against using synthetic nutrients, you probably want to look for a different way. You can use them with a flood and drain system, but I wouldn't use them with a drip irrigation system. And I will, at some point, you can go back. I have a video that shows my lavender plants, and they're in a flood and drain, and you could use anything you want in a system like that. But for drip irrigation, if you noticed, I don't even have drippers on the ends of these because drippers can plug. So these are open-ended tubes, so that way I don't have to worry about them clogging, and it makes it more trouble-free. So that's about it for this video. You know, if you have questions, you can always, you know, ask in the comments on the video, and you know, like and subscribe if this video helped you. And hope you all have a good day. Take care of yourselves. Happy gardening. Don't forget to keep it green. Alrighty, see you later. Bye bye.